Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, June 1, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center's forecast for the recently developed Tropical Depression number 2. Now you might be asking, Tropical Depression number 2, when did we have Tropical Depression number 1? Well, actually we did have Tropical Depression number 1 around January, but the system was not named. So it didn't receive the name Arlene. However, we now have Tropical Depression 2, which will receive the name Arlene if it actually develops, which it is forecast to do so later on tonight, as we can see by the letter S right there. So it's definitely going to become a tropical storm Arlene at that later on tonight. But look at its track, it's heading southward. And we're not really used to these models projecting these systems towards the south. But either way, we have it actually curving towards the east, maybe across sections of Cuba, and then into the southern section of Florida or the Bahamas right there. So it won't be making its way all the way down into portions of the northwestern Caribbean, maybe even affecting portions of Jamaica. Maybe we might get a stray cloud or two. Either way, not that much. Even the intensity forecast doesn't have it getting up into maybe hurricane status. The most it actually goes is into tropical storm territory. And there we had some commenters asking about the track of this system moving southward, when we usually have these storms moving northward into the United States or the Gulf of Mexico, into portions of Mexico. And it actually brings back wrong way Lenny. If you guys actually remember, if you actually studied the weather like we do, wrong way Lenny was actually a storm that developed back in November 1999. It formed to the southwest of Jamaica, and then it pushed this way off towards the east. So it went the actual wrong way, hence the name wrong way Lenny. So it actually even became a category 2 hurricane at that, category 4 hurricane at that, and it did a number on the especially eastern Caribbean islands. So this was the actual track. It started right there after the southwest of Jamaica, then it pushed off to the east, and then it slammed right into sections of the Leeward Islands right there on the 17th to the 18th of November as a category 4, killing up to 17 people, and the damage that it caused averaged about 1.2 billion US dollars as back in the year 2010. So it is very rare for us to have systems moving in that kind of direction, most definitely, but it is a possibility, especially when there's weak steering currents in terms of the high pressure ridge, and considering that there isn't much ridging taking place. There's a trough coming in from the United States, pushing it all the way down into this system, which is why this system is moving with the upper level flow of wind. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have multiple tropical waves still plaguing majority of the main development region. One tropical wave is right now affecting sections of the Lesser Antilles. We can also see that we still have those ridges of high pressure across the northern sections of the main development region, still sending some easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can also see that we have the L right there associated with that area of low pressure across sections of the Gulf of Mexico. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that tropical wave affecting portions of, let's say, northeastern Venezuela, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of the Windward Islands. We can also see a lot of clouds coming into sections of Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, as well associated with the trough. And we can also see the clouds spinning away right there associated with tropical depression number 2 across the northeastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for Thursday. It was stated that we would have received some amount of overcast skies and rainfall across sections of the island for last night into Thursday, and that we would especially be receiving a lot more rainfall during Thursday afternoon across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And what ended up happening, as early as let's say 1:25 p.m. we had the satellite images showing a lot of clouds across sections of the island, central and western parishes in Jamaica, that is. And we also had a lot of rainfall, especially across western Jamaica. Take a look at the Doppler radar images showing a lot of moderate to heavy rainfall as indicated by those yellows and the oranges and the gold colors within those greens that represent a lot of heavy rainfall. And we even had confirmation from some of our friends over there in Hanover and Westmoreland who confirmed the heavy rain, lightning and thunder, even in Montego Bay as well. Then another post was made at 6:10 p.m. this evening, highlighting the very clouds on the rainbow satellite images, showing a lot of clouds bringing overcast skies across sections of the Caribbean, including Jamaica. And we're still forecast to get some more rainfall tonight into Friday. And if we actually take a look at the live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, if you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this YouTube channel. If you'd like to see some live streams of Halfway Tree, Crossroad, even the Kingston Harbor, you can visit their page on YouTube, and it's very much free. So we can see that around, let's say, 2:47 p.m. this afternoon, we had more of a cloudy day still across majority of the island as seen on the satellite images. So it was much similar to what we had yesterday. Same thing on the Crossroads cam. Crossroads cam looking southward towards the harbor, towards the airport, that is, showing a lot of overcast skies across the region. So we didn't have much sunshine across the island. Much of what we had yesterday is what we definitely had. And then we have the Kingston Harbor cam stretching all the way from the airport side looking northward to downtown Kingston. We can see majority of those clouds dotting the hillside as well. So we didn't have much rainfall any at all. Taking a look at one comment on our Instagram page, we had a comment from I Am Redeemed in Jesus stating it's pouring down in Mobay. So we do have the confirmation for the heavy rainfall across especially western Jamaica. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see those low level clouds pushing in from the southeast, coming into sections of southeastern Jamaica, not to mention western Jamaica with those high cold cloud tops towering over. We can also see, if we actually take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, let's reload these pages, that we have the latest images, not to mention the Doppler radar images. So we can still see that we indeed have some amount of lightning flashes and lightning strikes right there across sections of western Jamaica, maybe northern St. Elizabeth, southern St. James, getting in on some amount of late evening thunderstorms, lots of thunderstorms right there up to the northeast of Portland as well. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images to confirm the rainfall right now, we can see that rainfall right there, especially across western and northern Jamaica right there, as well as to the northeast of Portland, which confirms the rainfall that we're experiencing right now across sections of the island. Most of this rainfall should be dissipating as the night progresses, and then tomorrow the rainfall returns, more divergence taking place, more lift taking place in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which will bring some more heavy rainfall, especially across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica. So to confirm what we just saw on the satellite images and Doppler radar images, we're taking a look at the live Crossroads cam, and we don't see much of anything happening. We can see everything off in the distance clearly, so there is no rain taking place at this time across sections of the corporate area. Taking a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall. We had some amount of isolated showers across sections of St. Catherine, Kingston, as well as sections of St. Thomas this morning. Then in the afternoon hours, that's where we had the most of the rainfall across sections of western Jamaica and northern Jamaica, not to mention southeastern Jamaica as well. Taking a look at temperatures for tonight, we can see about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and as usual as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. We have somewhat of a disagreement with the temperature forecast for 18th on Friday. We know that 18th when calculated, that's 1 p.m. on Friday. And both the Euro and the GFS are showing some kind of disagreement with the temperature forecast for Jamaica. The Euro is showing some slight blues that indicate below average temperatures for 1 p.m. on Friday. The GFS is it's actually the GFS that's showing the slight blues that represents below normal temperatures for 1 p.m. on Friday, while the Euro is showing some yellows that represent above average temperatures. We shall see exactly what happens. Either way, we're now in the month of June, so we should be getting 90 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, considering that we're entering into the summer month. We're actually now in meteorological summer, where the meteorologists consider the entire month of June to be summer. However, we know that the actual summer in terms of season begins on the 21st of June. So we should be receiving anywhere from 33 degrees Celsius. If the GFS is right, we should be getting anywhere from, let's say, 30 to 33 degrees Celsius. If the Euro model is right, we should be getting anywhere from 33 to 35 degrees Celsius for Friday. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see a lot of moisture across majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, associated with all of that trough-like weather, considering that we don't see much of the yellows that indicate dry air, not to mention oranges, reds, and whites within those reds. Majority of the driest air is right there across sections of the Gulf of Mexico and to the far east of the Caribbean, not to mention the northeast of the United States. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that 2 p.m. on Friday has majority of the Saharan dust across the main development region, not to mention the eastern Caribbean. You can see a lot of browns right there, so they should be getting in on some amount of hazy skies, and it might be triggering some persons' respiratory illnesses as well. So try your best to take the necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected. Hopefully the Saharan dust doesn't make it as far as Jamaica. Either way, be prepared just in case. Get that allergy medication. Alright, so let us take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow. We can see that 12 p.m. on Friday still has Jamaica surrounded by a lot of blues that indicate anywhere from 0 to at least 1 meter wave height. And that's due to the fact that we'll still be receiving some weak winds. But look at the direction that the winds are coming from. We're expecting the winds to be coming from the south tomorrow. We know that Jamaica is used to an easterly kind of flow of trade winds across the island. We're getting a southerly flow, so we might get that sea breeze coming in from the south, bringing some clouds with them and bring a lot of onshore divergence, lots of rainfall, especially up into the inland areas of the island. And we can also see that we have a lot of the blues that represent the least amount of winds. Where do we have that? Across sections of northern Jamaica. So we know that afternoon is usually fruitful for the northern parishes when we have this kind of setup. So we might have that daytime heating that leads to some afternoon convection, the clouds building and formulating into thunder clouds or cumulonimbus clouds. And then as usual we have the wind shear that blows all these clouds off. So right now we're still expecting a southwesterly kind of flow across the island for 1 p.m. on Friday. Southwesterly wind shear. So right now if we actually take a look at the latest satellite images, we have those clouds being pushed off from west to east. That's kind of a westerly kind of wind shear. So we know that we have a lot of clouds pushing over into sections of eastern Jamaica right now, but we don't have much rainfall. That is what we're talking about. We might have the heaviest of the rainfall wherever we have the sparkling white dots. That's where the thunderstorms are. That's where we have the highest, coldest cloud tops. Either way, when the wind shear blows these clouds off towards the east, then we will have more overcast skies than rainfall. So it's something like that that's being forecasted for tomorrow, especially for northern Jamaica. Either way, we're still going to be getting in on some rainfall across southern Jamaica. Let's take a look at the precipitation forecast. We can see that as early as tonight, 1 a.m., We can see some of this cloud cover clearing out. Majority of the Jamaica area embedded in white on both the Euro and the GFS. That indicate little to no rainfall. Skipping ahead to about 8 a.m. Jamaica time. Look at this. We see a lot of rainfall across the island as well, surrounding the island on the Euromal. The GFS not so robust, but we still have much of the same. Lots of blues that represent rainfall across the island and surrounding the island. I know that when we have consensus or agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 11 a.m. Jamaica time. We still see a lot of blues across the island. Look at the Euromal showing a lot of dark blues right there across section of St. Mary, Portland. GFS is a bit different, showing more dark blues across section of southern St. Elizabeth, southwestern Manchester right there. Either way, it's definitely going to be raining across some spots in Jamaica for tomorrow because we have consensus on both models. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So if it's not actually some amount of overcast skies, it's definitely going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica. Taking a look at about 2 p.m. Jamaica time, we can see that on the Euro model, we have some amount of rainfall still receiving across sections of eastern, central, and western Jamaica, if not overcast skies. Look at the GFS, some greens in there across northern Jamaica. And this is afternoon hours, just like what we mentioned earlier about the afternoon convection. Trelawney, St. Anne, maybe St. Mary getting in on some of that as well. We can also see some more rainfall across sections of the island at about 5 p.m. Look at that, we still have some rainfall lingering into the late afternoon hours, and then later on, skipping ahead to about 9 p.m. Jamaica time, we still have some more rainfall. Look at that across western Jamaica. This is grounds for some amount of flash flood announcement if it actually verifies. You might get in on some amount of flash flooding taking place across the island. For tomorrow, we still have much of the rainfall being predicted. Either way, ensure that you walk with your umbrella. Ensure that if you come upon flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. Even the accumulated precipitation forecast is a bit robust on both maps, showing more than an inch of rainfall across sections of the island from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. Lots of rainfall to be had across the island, so please ensure that you stay safe. And we're grateful that we're going to be getting in on all this rainfall, considering that we're now in the month of June. We're still in the secondary rainy season, but it's about to wind down, so we're getting the May rains. Even although the May rains came a bit late and it's spilling into early June, we're going to get all that rainfall up until we get to, let's say, the second week of June. Then we start to get back into some dry weather. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the tropical wave still bringing some amount of rainfall to sections of the Eastern Caribbean. So Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, portions of Guyana, St. Vincent, Colombia as usual getting in on some very heavy rainfall, not to mention Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Nicaragua and Eastern Honduras. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the Northeastern Caribbean, we can see that we still have a lot of scattered shower activity across sections of the area. So sections of Puerto Rico got in on some amount of rainfall coming in from the southeast today. Sections of Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda as usual, Anguilla getting in on some amount of rainfall today. Look at all that rainfall coming in on the south coast of Puerto Rico as well. Even up to recording hour, we still had some amount of lingering showers across those spots. So recording hour right now is about 7:55 p.m. and we still have some rainfall dotting southern Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Martin, sections of Guadeloupe as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, let's reload these images. We can still see some rainfall coming into sections of eastern and northern Barbados. Some more rainfall coming in from the south and east to affect the island. We can also see some rainfall going into sections of Grenada, sections of St. Vincent as well. Taking a look at a wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see all that rainfall that we just mentioned right there off the west coast of Jamaica on the Cayman radar. Not much happening across Cayman right now, but they did have a lot of heavy weather earlier today. Sections of western Cuba getting in on some rainfall. sections of Florida, sections of Belize, sections of Nicaragua as usual, not to mention sections of Guyana. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have below average temperatures. The consensus is across majority of the Gulf of Mexico, southern United States and eastern United States, while the average to above normal temperatures are expected from the western Caribbean all the way to the eastern Caribbean, so Central America, and the majority of the area right there to the east of Hispaniola, so Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and majority of the Leeward and Windward Islands, not to mention here all areas south of there, so Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, 2 p.m. on Friday has majority of the central and western Caribbean in the clear, while it's the southern and eastern Caribbean that has the haze from the Sahara Desert. So section of the ABC Islands, section of northeastern Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, and areas to the north of there. So Grenada, St. Vincent, Barbados, St. Lucia, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and areas to the north of there. So St. Kitts, sections of St. Martin, Antigua and Barbuda might get in on some amount of slight Saharan dust conditions. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we'll still see much of what we've been having all week. So majority of the western Caribbean having 0 to 0.5 of a meter, while the eastern Caribbean should be having up to a meter or a meter and a half wave heights, and that's due to the fact that the winds are still coming in, averaging up to 15 knots from the east to the southeast across majority of the eastern to central Caribbean. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow or from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday, we can see that we still have a lot more rainfall spilling off of the tropical wave or the intertropical convergence zone up into the Windward Islands right there, so Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent, Grenada, sections of Barbados, section of St. Lucia getting in on some rainfall. We can also see some rainfall right there across St. Vincent, Guyana, sections of Colombia, Panama, section of Costa Rica, Nicaragua. We can also see more rainfall in store for the Greater Antilles, so Jamaica, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, sections of Hispaniola, Jamaica, sections of Florida as well. And we see consensus, we see agreement on both maps. I know that when we have consensus or agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Even across sections of Puerto Rico, southeastern Puerto Rico, as well as the northeastern Caribbean, US and British Virgin Islands are still predicted to receive more rainfall, but not as robust as what section of the Greater Antilles is going to be getting. Definitely some flash flooding going to be taking place, especially where we have those purples that indicate up to 3 inches of rainfall or more. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.